Hello, everyone. It is
Hello.
that time of year again, where everyone on your feed is posting their favorite thing to post every year at this time. What could it be?
It couldn't be what they were thankful about, could it?
I don't think so. It doesn't represent them.
No. You know what represents them?
Spotify Wrapped.
How many times did you listen to Sicko Mode 2 years after it came out? Because that shows that you're a true sicko dude.
Absolutely.
And you need to share that with your feed.
Top 0.5% of Travis Scott listeners? Insane, bro. All right, so for this video, we kind of want to make a call back to our first video because we were kind of critical of that whole situation with Yuki's VP being driven by the idea that it doesn't matter about the home listener. It matters it's gonna fucking bump in a club.
If you want to look at our first video where we talked in depth more about the live setting of dance music, you can check it out in the link down below.
So this year, there's been no festivals. It wasn't driving the EDM meta. So we thought that it might be a good idea to showcase some good examples of EDM at home. And I think our Spotify Wrapped is a great representation of some of the music that might capture EDM in a non-festival context. Let's jump right in.
I think we go with you first.
Okay.
We'll try to focus on the dance music stuff, but you know
me.
You know Toronto Riley only recently shaved his mustache, so you know he's got some indie in here.
Hey, it hits hard on the beach, you know?
Okay, so what was your number one song of the year? Let's just start from the top.
I Like Everything About You. My number one was Claws by Charlie XCX. I don't know what it is about Charlie. Charlie just gets me going.
Yeah.
I just think it's clearly a great reimagination of pop music. We can talk about Pop 2, the greatest album of all time, in my opinion. We can debate it on another video. But I think Charlie XCX has really been turning tables over the past couple of years, especially with A.G. Cook behind her and the people she works with. I wasn't expecting this to be my number one song. Absolutely not. But I guess it was just a vibe. Put it in the car, you know, you're doing something, working out, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Charlie XCX hit the spot.
Followed by Huggin' and Kissin' by Big Black Delta.
This is a great song. It has like this really weird, comforting vibe to the song, but also eerie at the same time. Love this
Speaking
song.
of comforting, your first dance music song on here is Something Comforting by Porter.
Obviously a huge influence on myself, Rob here. I mean, that's how we met, really. I saw him first year university. I saw him with his Porter Robinson's hat, Porter Robinson shirt. I was like, that guy.
Yeah.
I gotta go talk to that guy. I was like, hey, you like Porter Robinson? He's like, yeah, I love Porter Robinson.
World's changed my life. And that's how we met. And this is like, what, 5 years later?
That's the origin story. Here we are, sitting on a couch talking about Charlie XCX.
And I think that Something Comforting really worked for me at home. Porter's not trying to capture that live dance music energy anymore.
I think he was trying to fight the stereotypes in dance music, even when he was doing his world tours. Remember him tweeting? He's like, my shows are not raves.
All of my music before Worlds is no longer canon. I never heard a dubstep growl in my life. Only anime girls singing. Following that, it looks like we got a couple progressive house tunes.
Poor Lane 8. I bought tickets to go see Lane 8 in March. And he had this huge tour. The idea behind his tour was really interesting. You weren't allowed to bring phones or cameras into the show.
Yeah.
And it was all about the music. It was all about just being together with people. Honestly, a great idea. Whole tour got canceled, and I think to combat that, he just put out a song a day.
I think this was a great year for progressive house.
Absolutely.
Perfect home listening dance music. You know, it's still got the groove. You still want to dance around while you're doing the dishes, while you're checking the local COVID numbers. You're just vibing, right? It's really good stuff, and I think it was a great time for that to make a comeback because it seems to be performing well. Lots of progressive house artists are having success on Spotify. At least it's streaming really well.
Yeah, you mentioned that it's just a genre that really does well. And I think this is a perfect example of home listening, EDM at home. This genre is almost like the Adele of EDM. Your dad can listen to progressive house.
Yeah.
You know, young people, old people. Progressive house just kind of captures that.
And you know what? We're reclaiming the word progressive house right now. It should no longer even be remotely related to big room house.
I think a big room song is like normally no longer than 3 minutes. I feel like progressive it means a longer duration of some sort of song.
I feel like Big Room should just be regressive house.
Yeah.
It just takes away everything that makes the song good, except for a huge pluck playing 3 notes.
Moving on, to connect with what we were just talking about, progressive house, No Mana, Secret Level EP, just really hit a craving for me. Walking to work, on the train, this EP, maybe one of my top of the year.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think No Man is really hitting a stride lately. They have a distinct style. He brings in those video game sounds.
Yeah.
It kind of fits his whole branding and everything. And I think it's perfect home listening stuff.
We would always like to say that No Mana is just Deadmau5 continued. Deadmau5 is retired and No Mana is taking over.
And the Mousetrap umbrella family, there's like Deadmau5 is at the top, and then like his children are Atlas and No Mana, and maybe some Eddie for the harder stuff.
Yeah.
He just picks and chooses one artist to perfect each of his styles
Honestly,
from the past.
And just rest in peace, I.O.
Rest in peace, I.O.
Very sad to hear.
Yeah.
And I think he really took on Deadmau5's techno side.
Yeah,
things,
definitely.
Really shaped that genre. Moving on, I gotta say something. Driving 75 kilometers an hour on any of the back roads, the lines hit exactly at 120 BPM. And once you hit that sweet spot, and the lines are hitting right on the beat, and the window's open, that's the mood.
That's it.
That's the mood.
And we got Old Star Pluck.
Great song.
Great song. I think Swarty was one of my favorites to put on this year when things were bleak. Didn't know if you were going to be able to go outside ever again. Just throw on some Swarty. I just feel like the Mushroom Man on this cover.
He wants to give you a big hug.
Yeah, but he's a little pensive about it.
I don't know how 1125 made it. I'm not a fan of this song. I guess it just worked out.
Is this dubstep? No. You listen to the Nitty Gritty rap song?
I worked out to the song.
Why?
Because Josh liked it, and I liked it too. I was down for it. It was a little bit upbeat.
Dude, this is garbage.
That's why I'm surprised. I think it was just in a rotation.
11:25. Nitty Gritty needs to stick to side piece.
Okay, just to wrap up my top songs of 2020, we got about 30% indie rock, 40% progressive house, and the remaining, I'm going to say 20% like Bitbirdie, future bass, and the remaining 10% scattered between hip hop and like in between genres, some throwbacks. She Blinded Me with Science 2009 remastered Thomas Dolby. Classic.
And the number one in your heart, of course, Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie just surprisingly just fucking knocked it out of the park this year.
Moving on, I guess we get to look at what I was grooving to this year.
A complete 180 here on the vibes, from Charlie X being my top played song. Let's jump right into Rob's top song.
Yep, we got
Crusade, Marshmello, and Sudden Death.
What can I say? The MIDI horns really do it for me.
I already know it's Marshmello with the 4-chord arp.
Yeah.
And then the the fucking horns. I think the build up in the song and how it's been put together is not horribly done. It's kind of surprising to be number one.
I think it's some really cool sound design. I really like the bass going with the big kick underneath. I think the horns are just corny enough. When I go on walks, I listen to dubstep. Whenever I would skateboard anywhere or have to carry something around, I'm listening to dubstep. And this was my go-to for a while because like I'm out and about. I want to be motivated through it. It's cold as hell in Ottawa in the winter. Sometimes you just need some warmth from a good banger. Same thing happened last year. I had some Must Die song as my number one song, and then following just a bunch of house music like Atlas. A complete switch of vibes, but you know, shout out to Marshmello and Sudden Death. They really knocked it out of the park there with that Crusade tune.
I think just by looking at your list here, we have fairly similar list, except you've replaced my indie percentages with like dubstep.
This year, I was at home, I was in my element, and when I was listening to music, I just wanted to be going through the dance music stuff. And luckily, Atlas gave us 2 albums this year. I got a lot of play out of his first album. Shatter was one of my favorite songs here. Something Comforting.
Yeah, which
again
we both got on the top of our list here.
Yeah, another Atlas song.
You were in the zero. What was it?
0.05% of Atlas listeners.
Like you have to be one of his biggest fans.
Yeah, he's been in my top artists since his first Dead Mouse remix like 5 years ago. I just really connect with his music. I think it's really good. And same with following that, Cone Sound, also always at the top of my list. I really liked Cosmic Tuba. I think this was the best song on this EP, and this EP was underrated because it had 2 less than stellar vocal features on it. But this is a masterclass of mixing.
These guys are the cleanest sound designers, cleanest mixers.
They don't push it too hard. Like, this doesn't sound like it's crunched in my headphones, but it's still loud. These guys are wizards. They just sit in their Bristol flat. They go up for crisps every once in a while for a little snack, and then right back to the studio. This is like Crusade, but done so much more tastefully. Horns and bass.
Yeah, honestly.
We got Let You Go by Gentleman's Club. Really good song. I think the sound design on this was really cool. I love a big blown out 808, and I think everything has a lot of good space in the mix. They're good guys too. I got the opportunity to meet them at Wobbleland before everything shut down this year.
Nice. That was in January, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the last festival. I went out with a dubstep bang and then didn't get to go outside again.
Maybe that did influence the rest of your music listening choices.
It very well could have. I was having a really good time with dubstep that weekend.
You were latching on to the last memory of live music.
Some Don Kong. I think you had that song too.
I really like this song. Very interesting take on house music.
Really good stuff.
Great song.
Followed by 1991, the People D&B mix. Shout out Ghost Mace, my Sable Valley bro. 1991 makes some really good basic D&B, but done well. Moolah. I just really thought this had interesting sound design.
I think when it comes to the production side of dubstep, I mean, I know this is a house song. Eliminate really, I think, is on top.
He's got some really good sounds. Like
it's clean.
It's
just
really clean.
It's clean, especially just his little plucks here.
I think the through line with a lot of this bass music that's showing up on my list is like kind of novel sound design ideas.
Yeah.
You know, even Crusade, I thought the shitty MIDI horns was like novel enough to me that I was like, this is different. This is kind of cool. Q, my guy. This guy has been on my list since I found him in a random Japanese chill music playlist a couple years ago. I just throw his albums on, pretend I'm in Spirited Away, walking through some mythical countryside where all the fruit is able to be picked off the trees, and I can just chomp it all down in one bite. And there's a train that chews by with the smoke billowing out the top, but you don't have to worry about the environment because you're in anime mystical world. Overall, I think what I valued the most was good album listening music. If there's a good dance music album that I can put on front to back, I will listen to that way more than just going and searching for singles through my library. Past that, it was my like go-to bass music that I think was clever, did something new, and was fun to listen to. Like, this is something that I can appreciate as a listener and isn't a carbon copy of anything else. Like, I think a lot of listeners of bass music have that same perspective where they want something that they haven't heard before, something that's like pushing the boundaries. It's the stuff that maybe that I'm not listening to it in a live music context, but I can still get that same enjoyment out of it, you know?
It was like your prediction. All these songs were the bets you had for the songs that would have gone off.
I think less the songs that I would have bet on and more the songs that I would have been excited to play if I was DJing somewhere. That's what drives me, and that can drive me, I think, without even ever having to see it live or play it live. Do you have any final thoughts about how your home experience with dance music was?
To me, electronic music has never been something that's influenced by festival scene, or I would love to see this live. It's always been on the road, you know, on walks. And if it was something heavier, to be like, oh, this is a live thing. This is a live experience that I would put out.
Yeah.
Or I would play out if I was DJing. And that doesn't really happen as much anymore. So I think that kind of summarizes progressive house nature.
Yeah.
Where there's this beat, you're doing something, you're moving, and scenery is played out before you.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have that same thoughts, curating a soundtrack for the environment that I'm currently in.
Yeah, and for the heavier stuff, just to add on to that, because I know I would say I would think about playing it out. But another thing is like laying out that scenery for going to the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the heavier stuff, Mumbai Power was a huge one for me here. The heavier stuff was definitely played in an activity setting. So there we have it. There's a little bit of insight into what we listen to.
All wrapped up.
Just to kind of see like, what is home listening? What is EDM at home?
And if you want to check either of our playlists out, we'll have them linked in the description.
Sure.
There's some good songs in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's it for us today.
If you enjoy this, I think people like you want to see this content. So we want to cater towards those people. So if you're watching this and have any feedback on which direction we should go for, what kind of content we should cover, feedback is great. We would love that.
Yeah, we're just trying to get something started here. We don't have anything locked in, nothing set. So we're just kind of going with ideas that we think we would want to watch, but you guys know best. So let us know.
Well, let's see you next time.
See you next time.